friends, welcome to Star Oracle. Today we are looking at eclipse season. It is fast approaching as I'm filming this. We're a couple days out from a new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees, which is not a eclipse, but it is opening us into Virgo season, which is the time when we are going to have eclipses. So our first eclipse happens on September 7th. It is a lunar eclipse in Pisces, which means it's a full moon eclipse at 15 degrees. And our second eclipse is September 21st, which is a Virgo solar eclipse, which means it's a new moon eclipse. So we're actually getting these two new moons in Virgo. So at the very, very beginning of Virgo at 0 degrees and the very, very end at 29 degrees. So there's a lot of themes always with eclipse season where there's endings and beginnings happening, but particularly because these eclipses are happening in Pisces and Virgo, Pisces is the very end of the zodiac, and it is kind of this place where we need to let go, or where closure is really possible, where larger endings and unraveling in our life can come about. And so you might really have these larger things kind of moving through that are finally ready to be released. And this eclipse cycle is very tied also to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which both of these planets moved into Aries earlier this year, but are both now on the path to retrograding back into Pisces for one final time until they move back into the sign of Aries for good, right, at the beginning of next year. Very much a time to have deep compassion for yourself, to tap in as much as you can with the part of you that can hold that for others and for yourself. And yeah, don't be too hard on what, don't think that things need to be fixed right away, allowing things to unfold. That's typically what I suggest to people during any eclipse season, is like, don't try to control situations, because we just don't know what's going to happen, right? When we have eclipses, it's like the light is being obscured, so we're kind of left in the darkness, and we need to be present with the mystery until it's revealed of what is next, right? And so with these eclipses in particular, because they are also dealing with that Piscean energy, there is a need for more surrender than usual, right? Just allowing ourselves to kind of like let the divine in this sense. And with the North Node in Pisces, there's a way that Pisces energy does clear the way. What it's doing when we have these great losses, or Pisces can be a place of grief too. So if you find yourself in moments of really needing to grieve, I highly suggest allowing yourself to do that, just allowing emotions to flow through. And know that as you're doing this, as you are fully welcoming in these experiences, which might feel very overwhelming, that you can surrender whatever that experience is up to the divine, right? Or up to your higher self, whatever you feel comfortable with. Like, whoever can be in the room energetically with you that you feel as a support to you in those moments, to really call them in. Because what's going on is when we finally lay our burdens down, when we can surrender in this way, it really, really is making space for what wants to be created, with both Saturn and Neptune moving into the sign of Aries. And whatever we are newly trying to bring into the world and birth into the world. So with that, I don't think I have anything else to say about the eclipses. Oh, I will mention one thing. The last eclipse that we had in Virgo was earlier this year, March 13th, and the other eclipse that happened in March was actually Aries. So the only other lunar eclipse that we had, or the only other eclipse we had in Pisces, was actually this time last year. So September 17th of 2024 was when we had our last eclipse in Pisces. So March 13th of this year and then September 17th of last year, those are two important key dates to think about in terms of themes that may have been popping up and for you to consider. All right, and before I get into the pile selection here, we are going to be looking at just what is ending and what is beginning, and really working with those two questions and getting some guidance around it. And these cards here are just going to be actually messages from your future self, who is on the other side of this eclipse season and ready to give you some much needed advice, or just something that's important for you to know at this point in time before you enter through this eclipse portal. And I just want to announce before we go into the pile selection that I have a class available right now called By the Moon, the Intuitive Guide to Understanding Your Birth Chart. And this class is all about learning to use the moon cycles against your own personal birth chart. Because the beautiful thing is that we all have our chart in a different form, right? Like all the planets are laid out completely differently, unique to us, which means that we experience transits in a unique way. And we can use the moon and the moon cycles to actually understand what our completely natural rhythm is, to know how we actually sort of take in life, if you will. And I think a lot of people don't understand that we can really flow and know our own rhythms by using the moon in this completely unique way. So it's something that I learned later in my studies in astrology, and I really wish I had been taught this or thought to use the moon in this particular way when I first started doing astrology, because it just completely blew open my own understanding of my birth chart and allowed me to deepen into what each part of my chart really was trying to teach me and how to more intuitively sense things as they were coming up, because the moon is such a beautiful teacher. So anyways, that's available right now. I'm really excited about it, and I hope that you check it out. I have a free ebook too that you can get the first lesson. So that's all in the description box. And if you purchase the class is $75. If you purchase in August, I also have a second ebook called The Planets and Archetypal Guide. And this is a reference guide. So it has the description. There's like each planet gets its own page with correspondences and just information about what these planets really mean archetypally. So that is a really, really great resource to have as you're doing the class, and I thought it would be fun to just offer it for free along with the class if you purchase it while I'm releasing it for the first time. So with that, I want to get into the different piles we have here. I chose labradorite because I think it's just such a beautiful stone to help us through moments of big change and moments that feel like portals, right? In general. So it feels like a good eclipse season stone, but let me see if I can get the flash on camera. So if you are choosing pile 1 here, so for pile 1, we have this stone. Pile 2 is the teardrop labradorite slice. And for pile 3, we've got this one here. So feel free to choose whichever pile or piles are calling to you, and I will see you at your reading. Much love. Hi, pile 1. Y'all chose this particular beautiful labradorite piece here. And this card, I'm going to set these aside. We're going to look at this at the end. And right now we are looking at this upcoming eclipse season and asking the questions of what is ending and what is beginning. If you want more of a breakdown of what the dates and such around this eclipse season, you can go ahead and check the description box and go back to the intro, because I got into that a little bit. So, but I just want to get into it. So I'm going to use this deck here just to ask these general questions to get an understanding of the themes going on in your personal life or your greater world, whatever. Whatever wants to come out here around what's ending right now for you through the eclipses. And then we'll look at what is beginning. So for those who are watching pile 1 right now, what is going to be concluding? What is clearing out? What is really ending in their life during this upcoming eclipse season? Unapologetic, all right. going to be beginning for them? Pile 1, what's going to be beginning in their life? What's opening up as the space is being cleared? What's going to be beginning for them? Oh, okay, that fell on the floor. Give me a moment. We have transparent. Yes. Okay. This feels really perfect of like an ending and a beginning. I'm getting the sense with this unapologetic card that there could be a way in your life where you have felt the need to be really on the defense a lot, or like needing to just defend parts of your identity, or feeling like the world's against you in some way, really coming at things from this feeling of like needing to overcome versus just needing, like, wanting to experience life, right, from a more like softer place, or just trusting place, a trusting the universe type place. This card obviously can also be, we get into that energy of unapologetic, right, where it's like, I'm just gonna be me. And I think it can sometimes be this like double-edged sword in a way, or it can be really easy to fall into an energetic place where that experience of you saying, I'm just going to be me, right? Or like when we get into that energy where we don't realize how much it's actually coming from a place of woundedness. And to me, this is saying there's a release here that's going on around you having a realization. Often eclipses bring in these big moments of realization where it's like things that just we haven't known, or haven't been able to comprehend, right? It's like some little piece of information comes into our awareness that really gives us that insight and that key. So you might have this moment coming through where it's like, wow, all of the ways that I have felt the need to prove myself, or that I have been feeling like I'm standing in my power, right, have actually been very connected to my own woundedness and my feeling like I have to stand tall, right? Like I need to be doing things in a certain way so people respect me. Or I can't trust people with who I feel like, with the tender, vulnerable parts of myself, right? And this eclipse season to me is really putting that out, which I will say, if this is really something being released to, it's good to be getting this heads up in this moment, and to know when that occurs, it might feel very vulnerable, and it might feel really tender in a way that you do need to offer yourself extra care and like allow any, I mean, I feel like when I've experienced moments like this in the past, I need to give myself a lot of space to really grieve the time when I didn't have this realization, and I sort of was like thinking I was in my power, right? And I realized that I wasn't, or I was just in this kind of like stance of opposition where it's like everything's against me, so I need to keep pushing. And I think it's beautiful that there's this breaking point here with this. And I love that the moths are in this card too, because to me that actually points to this being a very transformative experience, and sort of being able to shed this thick skin, right? Like the crocodile has such a thick skin here, and to feel like it's possible to experience life in a brand new way. And I love that this is actually happening before all of that energy is going to be put into the Aries energy of the chart, because I think Aries can sometimes get confused around that energy in particular, around like needing to prove oneself, or just like really can get in their head too, or getting like the ego, right, overpowering situations and not realizing that they're acting from that place necessarily. So the fact that this is already being cleared through just feels like a very powerful experience to be having, as the cycles of the outer planets are moving towards these huge new beginnings, with both Neptune and Saturn being moving into the sign of Aries fully in January, or in early next year. But let's look at this transparent card. So in terms of what is coming, I think that this just feels so much like that natural progression, right? Of like, we move from a place of feeling the need to prove of self, and to here it's like, I can be fully transparent. Like, there's no part of me that I need to hold shame around, or that is too, like, ugly or unworthy, that someone who I know can hold love for me won't be able to see, right? Or like that it's unlovable. To me, this feels like really deepening into the potential of connecting with others at such a soul. It feels very like childlike, almost like um, just that sense of home that you can experience with other people. And I do believe that this new beginning that's really coming for you is through being able to have connections that just you deeply trust, because you're not afraid of them seeing you without this tough exterior any longer. And yeah, there's just that's really funny. I was just thinking of how nasturtium, or not, what are these called? It is nasturtiums, right? I think so. How this is an edible flower, and just thinking of like, um, I don't know, like just eating the flower, eating the blossoms, and like how that's kind of like a vulnerable thing or something. Like we're actually eating like someone's full blossom, or we're eating a full blossom. I don't know. Maybe this is getting a little whatever. But that just came to me. Maybe that'll be pertinent for someone out there. But I love that, of just thinking like the amount of vulnerability and openness and deepening into connections that feel very real, and like they are benefiting you as a human, that are allowing you to grow in completely new ways, and just not need to hold such a stance in the world where you can't allow all parts of yourself forward. So let's go a little deeper. I'm just gonna use this deck and ask for a bit of advice on how to move through this bridge, like how to bridge this experience here during eclipse season especially. So for those watching, what will really support them in terms of bridging this experience? Also, I just want to say how much I love reading cards, because how like amazing to just have like the crocodile skin as an image, and then this like transparent, translucent skin as an image, and thinking of that in terms of what you're releasing and creating. I mean, it's so cool. It's why I love doing this in general. All right, so for folks watching pile one, what is going to help them to move through this energy, to bridge this energy? All right, and this fell out too. And we'll get a couple from my deck here. And if you're enjoying this, please go ahead and give it a like or leave me a comment. I would love that. I'd love to hear from y'all. And I'm really trying to reinvigorate my channel, so I'm hoping to be posting more regularly, like one new video a week into the future. It's been kind of, I've gone quiet for quite a while, but definitely want to be here more often. I really enjoy giving these readings. So, all right, for pile one, what else might they need to know about how to bridge this? Anything else that wants to come out? Okay, just these two. Oh, well, yes, threshold crossing. Threshold crossing, that is what we are doing. And enmeshment. I'm going to take the bottom of the deck too, which says, I want to flow with you. this is really wonderful advice, honestly. With the Eight of Vessels here, this is to me saying to allow the things that really that are kind of like emotionally burdensome to you. It almost feels like you've recognized, right? Like that this is not the way that you can continually sustain your life through having to hold up such a barrier to it and to prove yourself over and over again. Like that is what the Eight of Vessels is here to, like, clear that away and allow for new emotional experiences to come. The Eight, right, of Cups comes right before the Nine, which is that wish fulfillment and moving into more desirable emotional fulfilling experiences, which seems like what's going on here in general. So with the threshold crossing and enmeshment as well, to me this is saying part of this crossing of what you're doing is understanding what enmeshment is about and how much it is fear related, and how when we get into these experiences of codependency or like needing other people to show up for us in certain ways, that often it's like we're not actually seeing ourselves fully too, or showing up completely vulnerably. There's a lot that goes into it, obviously, but with enmeshment here, I don't see this as saying like when you're transparent you're going to have this because new connections are coming in, they'll be enmeshed. I think it's actually saying when we're in this stance to life, enmeshment is much more we're prone more to experiences of enmeshment because ultimately it's coming from a place of fear. So part of this crossing is to release the fear, where you don't need to be enmeshed with other people, right? You're allowed to be a whole person, to show transparently your whole unique self to other people, and to let that be, and to let other people show that to you too. And they don't have to like be the same as you or agree on the same things in every single way. It's more like we can just be our full selves, and that's okay. Like, be in flow. They want to be in flow with you, which is a very different energy than enmeshment. Like, being in flow means there can be different streams coming together, right? Enmeshment is when it's like you can't tell the difference between the two. So that's an important thing if you're looking for like a way to distinguish the energy of what's healthy, what's healing for you versus what is not actually leading you down the right path, is to really ask yourself that, like, do I still feel like a separate person, right, when I'm entering into these experiences? Because it is a lot, especially if we're not used to opening up in more vulnerable ways with people, and can just become really overwhelmed by it, or just enter into this experience where it feels like we're taking on other people's emotions and then we want them to take on ours, and it can get a little bit messy. So coming back again and again to yourself, and finding home within your own self first, but in a way where you're still able to be unguarded. Because I think what's really needing to be released here is just like the fear and the pride too, I guess, in a way of like needing people to see you in a certain way, and to know that you're worthy of love no matter who you are, like no matter how your experiences have been laid out over the course of your life, no matter what your relationships have looked like in the past. Like, honestly, I will say right now, with Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, they've already both moved in. They're moving back into Pisces for a little bit to do this final clearing, and then are moving into Aries, right? This is huge. Like, this is a once in a lifetime transit going on here, and for all of us, this is a rebirthing moment. So if you can live by that mantra of like the past doesn't matter, I was just thinking earlier today, so I had to laugh because that Spice Girls song came on, and or I heard it somewhere, I don't remember, and that line that's like, if you want my future, forget your past. And I was like, ooh, that's such a good like eclipse season song, and it just came back in my mind right now. So yeah, like, if you want the future you desire, you have to forget the past. Like, you have to leave it behind. And what's coming through that on the other side is this Four of Branches, which is that energy of like building very harmonious and beautiful home with people, right? Like having that sense of deep love and connection with others. And creating a life that you truly desire and that is worthy of you in your wholeness, and connections that know that to be true, that you are deeply desired. And I don't want to say worthy because I don't actually believe that worthiness is even a thing that we need to worry about in this life. It's more about that we belong together, right? That we all belong here, that we all belong together in this moment, and the people who we resonate deeply with and those who you will find that you are going to have this level of transparency with, those are the people who you belong with at this time. And as this new era is unfolding of Saturn and Neptune are moving into Aries. So with that and through eclipse season, let's go and look at this final card. So this is the message from your future self. I asked before I opened up the reading for your future self to come through with a message that's going to be important or significant for you to consider during this eclipse season. I didn't look at these yet. Oh yeah, okay, so we have water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. Very good advice for eclipse season in general, and especially eclipses happening with Virgo being activated, right? Virgo is the healer and a lot about health and taking care of our physical body. And with eclipse season, sometimes it can be difficult to actually get the rest that we need. So I think your future self is like just coming through to be like, please take a nap. Like, please allow yourself to find any way that you can to restore your physical body, and, you know, take time out in whatever way you can. And know that that's available for you, and to know there's a way to move through this energy that is going to actually not destroy you physically, because I know that's definitely been true for me during certain eclipse seasons that have been really activating, where I just come out the other side and I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? So I hope that this offers you then a bit of that reminder, that important reminder that no matter what is going on, taking a rest and being kind to your physical form, and maybe doing that with other people too who you trust, like having some sort of nice, like sweet, relaxing, connecting time with others might be nice too. Whatever feels, you know, most aligned with where you're at in the moment. I think I'm going to end this there. I love this for you, Pile 1. And I want to share again that I have my class available right now, By the Moon, The Intuitive Guide to Understanding Your Birth Chart. So if you're really wanting to come into a lot more confidence in how you experience astrology, or if you're brand new to it and really want to learn, this is the class I wish I had when I first started, because it really gets you into understanding on like an embodied level, in a much more intuitive way, how to work with the energies in the sky as they are impacting your personal birth chart. So it gives you a lot of insight just into how that works and how that functions, which to me, it's a little bit of a mystery, honestly, in the field of astrology. And I think people will talk about like correspondences between how things happen, but it's not always like so direct. Like people will say, yeah, you might have this experience happen, but we're not really getting deeper into the feeling of it and whatnot. So I really wanted to make this class for folks who just want to move out of looking at astrology solely from this like intellectual perspective, or trying to learn all the keywords and do all of that, and really want to actually have strong practices to heighten your intuitive senses and your deepening personal connection to your birth chart and to the planet. So if that interests you, I would absolutely love for you to check it out. It's all pre-recorded, so you can get the whole thing. It's just an ebook, and then there are links in the ebook to some tutorials that help you. So if you're brand new to astrology, it totally is good for you. If you've already been very interested in studying astrology for a while, it's also good for you. This is information I try to bridge that, so it's good for more advanced folks too, because like I said, said, I think I said in the intro when I was talking about it, this like information I didn't even have until much later after I had been into astrology for a long time. And I was like, oh man, I really wish that I had this information earlier on, because it totally opened up a lot of new understanding and deepening into my own birth chart in a way that nothing else had. So I'm super pleased to be able to offer it at this time. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. Hopefully I will see y'all in another video. And if not, or whenever, enjoy life. Enjoy this eclipse season. Rest as much as you can. It looks like there is a lot of beautiful softening happening for you. So I'm sending you so much love and a lot of blessings through this time. Bye, Group 1. Hi, Group 2. Y'all chose the labradorite slice, the teardrop slice, and this card. I'm going to put it over here. We're going to look at that at the end. Today we're looking at this upcoming eclipse season and getting into the question of just what is ending and what is beginning, and kind of going off from there to get some insight into these questions. So if you want more of a breakdown around this eclipse season, I didn't go like too into it, but at least for dates and whatnot, you can go back to the beginning if you didn't watch the intro. But we're just going to get into it here. So we're first going to ask those two questions of what is ending during this eclipse season for my pile 2s. The folks who are drawn to pile 2, what is it that's going to be ending in their life? What's clearing out? What are they letting go of? What is really releasing during this time? Flipped over here. We have learn. And what is beginning for my pile 2s? It's opening up. What's beginning for them through this eclipse cycle? Ooh, secret. We can ask a little more clarifiers on that one. You know what? I'm going to take the bottom here as well to go with that, because we have the magic within coming through, which I think is nice for that. Group 2, what I'm really sensing here with learn coming out in terms of what you're releasing, and then secret and the magic within as what is newly coming in, is releasing the need to discover everything, to take in information in the way where knowing that the truth, or having this idea that the truth only comes from the amount of like texts you can read, right? Or the amount of podcasts you can listen to, the amount of different teachers you can have. Like, I need to take another class, right? To like keep learning. There's this way, and I think it's actually interesting because these eclipses are in Virgo and in Pisces, and this almost feels directly tied to that, where like we are releasing with the South Node, right? And the South Node is in Virgo, and Virgo has a lot to do with the details, and a lot to do with, because it's ruled by Mercury, a lot to do with that kind of mercurial quality of taking in a lot of information and just being curious and wanting to learn new things and try new things. And I think what's going on here is it's like, okay, we've reached a point where the level of intaking information in the material world, right, of just like taking new classes or having many teachers is sort of, you're reaching a point of that becoming almost stagnant, or things aren't integrating enough yet. And so we're moving into this place of the secret and of the magic within, which feels very Piscean. Pisces can be that place that holds a level of secrets to it because it's kind of elusive, right? And the magic within it is kind of pointing to that, the way that Pisces can be about our own divinity and about the knowledge that we really do hold inside, because we are always connected to what is infinite. We're always connected to source. And this to me is a natural transition of what's coming in for you, is moving into a time period of your life where you are open to the fact that there is hidden knowledge that actually lives like within your cells, right? Within the creatures in your life too, with this owl just popping up in my view, like being able to read the terrain in a way that is not logical. So moving away from the logical mind into a much more experiential view of life, and one where you have a lot more trust in yourself, because you're understanding on a deeper level that you know a lot more than you have believed in the past. And that's sort of slowly being revealed to you. And it's interesting here with like this green gas coming out, and like Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces in modern astrology, and Neptune as a sign can often be associated to like gases and kind of fog. And so that's kind of interesting that this is showing up too. So there might be like this embrace of things that are not so clear, right, on the surface or to other people, but you are digging deep and understanding there is magic in there. There's importance in that level of knowing and of sensing through your physical body, right? The experiences you have are through your innate knowing, and it's just going to start to kind of grow a lot as you move through this eclipse season. You may have some really interesting spiritual experiences or psychic experiences, like some sort of innate gifts maybe you had as a child that are coming back online. Things like that going on during eclipse season. So don't be surprised if that starts happening, or maybe you're already starting to sense that and you just really begin to move away from looking to outside sources for understanding and start turning more towards yourself as your own authority in these situations, and really trusting that. I'm being pulled to animals again, and it was interesting. Before I started this pile, I was like thinking about horses for some reason, and I'm like, I don't know if this pile is like really connected to horses, or there's something there, but I think like animals as well might be like, maybe you are able to have deeper communication with animals or creatures who can offer you their knowledge too. I don't know, there might be some connection there. Maybe you just love animals and you do feel a sense of like home and belonging with them, and a way that they can help you connect more with your own wisdom within and the knowledge you need to learn. So yeah, let's look at, I'm going to use the Wild Unknown deck then actually to ask the next question, because I think that will be good with this like animal kind of influence coming through here. So we're going to look at what will help bridge this. Like, how can you move between these two energies in a way that is supportive during eclipse season especially. So for those watching pile 2, how can they best bridge this energy? And the 10 of Wands coming out first, with the Daughter of Wands and the Magician. And I'm going to pull a couple of these as well. So for those watching pile 2, any further messages here about how they can bridge this energy? Oops. And if you're enjoying this, I would love if you leave me a like, or feel free to subscribe if you like this too. I'm revamping my channel here, so I am planning on being a lot more consistent. I have been gone for quite a while, and I'm just breathing new life into it and really want to be offering readings more. So definitely would love to have you stick around for future readings. Yeah, and I always love engaging with folks. If you have an insight that came through the reading or anything important that you'd want to share, I would love that. So, all right, pile 2, anything further they need to know to bridge these energies, what will help them? I'm going to take the bottom of the deck here too. Oh, and this one too. In your favor. Okay, we had Lean on Me and Threshold Crossing. That's funny. The last group got Threshold Crossing too, which is like, this is what this is. It's a threshold crossing, right? This moment. Eclipses are truly these moments of threshold crossing. And I'll put this over here, Lean on Me. And then we have the prismatic awareness and in your favor. Group 2, this is really like moving from student to master energy. And I think what this is saying here with the Daughter of Wands and then the Magician is like, once you bridge that point of like, I'm no longer a student, right? And I have this level of mastery that exists within me. That's when a big key change can happen. So I think this is reflecting that a little bit. And it also feels like with the 5 and then 5 to the 10, like these are huge jumps, okay? Like from 5 to 10, it's a doubling, right? And then from the Daughter to the major arcana of the Magician, like that's a really large leap going on. And I think in that happening, there's a way, like, to me, this is saying trust that, and that's okay. You're not progressing in the way that other people are, because there might be a way that this has been building for a long time, but you've just relied on logic for so long that it might feel really drastic and like a little bit shaky of moving from that place of being so much a student all the time into like feeling this sense of confidence. And to really, so we have Lean on Me coming out. Lean on the things that you know are true for you in your heart, especially, and the, guides or whatever you connect with in a more spiritual sense that can lead you through these intuitive places. Even people in the physical, like if you have teachers who you really trust, who allow you to utilize your own internal knowing, like lean on those people too during this time, because the In Your Favor card was here too. That's giving me the sense of like these great leaps that are going on are in your favor and you can trust them, even if it feels scary. And this is like the 5 of Wands feels 5 to the 10. It's like these are both cards of a lot of like karma and repeating patterns that keep you in a place of feeling bound down in a way that it just can't break through. But I'm also, because it's with learn, I'm feeling like it's almost like the information you're intaking and putting so much emphasis on like, I have to have this particular skill, or like I need to know this level of information before I can become good, or like right, before I can know enough, right, to be in my own self-trust. That's almost like what is needing to be cleared away, and to understand like actually we're always the student, right, and we're always the master at the same time. It's kind of that like moving out of that duality and coming more into this prismatic awareness of the fact that we are always the different facets of that all at once. And so it's our choice, right? Like we get to have this place. Like the 5 of Wands can sometimes be like a fighting card, or like feeling like we need to prove ourselves in some way, and sometimes that's just an internal battle. So there might be a way that you're really needing to drop that completely. Like with the 10, it's like release the burden and let yourself get into this energy of the student, but knowing the student and the master are one and the same, and how that is true for you, especially at this time during eclipse season, when you feel like, oh wow, I'm just beginning, but somehow I'm also a master at the same time, and how wild that is. And to just know that that experience is in your favor, and it is just a part of what is unfolding at this time to help you get into the mindset and into the embodied experience of your own innate wisdom that you came to this earth with, and that we all have access to in any moment, once we are able to clear away enough of the conditioning, of the burdens, of the traumas, the karmas, whatever it is in our life that has like kept us bound to this particular experience of life, to the point that we can't actually see outside of that. So this feels like a very big eclipse season for y'all, in terms of really, really opening up your inner world, and to your own truth, like your own truth and remembrance of your spirit, of your soul. Yeah, I'm gonna look at this card now, which I did not look at. I'm not sure what they are. This message I drew specifically to ask your future self, who's on the other side of this transit, of this eclipse season, what it is that they really want you to know now that will help you move through this time. So, we have forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. How freaking perfect is that for this reading? Like, yeah, you are not here to just continue to learn from others, right? I mean, obviously we all are teaching each other and we're all learning, but I think there is a way that we can get so hyper-focused on like never learning enough. I just heard, like, projector, if you know human design, maybe you're a projector, because I know projectors, it's like, must consume as much information as possible, in order to feel good enough, right? Like, that's definitely a thing. But whatever, if that doesn't relate, don't worry about it. But just, like, this is your time, right, to understand it's not that you're done learning or like taking in intellectual things, but it actually really is your time to recognize that you have unique things that literally no one else can teach you, that you have to enter into these places of reverence with self, and into these spaces of like awareness and deep presence with yourself, so that it can be revealed to you. And until you do that, if you continue focusing on like learning this next new thing and this next new thing, it's going to keep you actually from doing that, because you are here clearly to be a leader in some way. And I love that quote of like leaders, which is leaders don't have followers, leaders just go first. I love it so much. And I think that that's really pertinent here for you to hold on to and to remember, especially as all of the energy with Saturn and Neptune being on that threshold between Pisces and Aries, when they move finally next year into Aries for real, which is this huge birthing moment for all of us, that it is your time to be that leader and to know it's not about ego, right? It's literally just about going first for what is right for you, that you know in your soul is right for you. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you. I think that was good. Definitely leave a comment if this resonated, how you're feeling about it. And I'm just thinking about the animal beings again. So if that is something that offers you comfort during this time, to definitely lean on those creatures for their innate wisdom that they hold within their energetic frequencies too. Absolutely. And I will just remind you too that I have my class, By the Moon, the Intuitive Guide to Understanding Your Birth Chart, which is literally this. It's like moving away from learning astrology purely from a sense of like rote memorization, where we're just like, this means this and this means that. I know the definition of this planet, so I understand, right? It's moving away from that like over intellectualizing of astrology into a space of like, how do I actually get into the nitty gritty of it, where I intuitively can sense for myself, no matter how much I know or understand about astrology, how can I approach it so that I can deepen into my own birth chart and really get that wisdom and understanding for myself in like a deeply intuitive and embodied way. So this might really be a class that could support you through eclipse season, and just at this time of your life when you're kind of moving into taking experiences into that way. Obviously, I'm not saying you need to take another class, because maybe that's like you don't need to at all. But it is interesting because it's kind of flowing with the message of this, in terms of really learning the skills, or learning how to tune into your own innate wisdom and your own direct relationship with the world around you. And for this class, it's like learning that, to have that direct relationship with the planets. So with that, I will leave y'all here. Thank you again so much, and hopefully I will see y'all in a future reading. And no matter what, I hope y'all have a wonderful day or night whenever you're seeing this, and I will see you another time. Much love. Bye, y'all. Hi, group 3. So y'all chose this beautiful stone labradorite here, and these cards, which I will put over to the side as we're going to look at them at the end. So today we're looking at this eclipse season that is coming up. If you want a little bit of more information on dates and whatnot about the eclipses, when they're happening, what's going on, etc., check the intro if you didn't watch the whole thing, because I've got some information in there for you. But we're just going to get right into it, and we're looking at what is ending and what is beginning in your life right now through this eclipse portal. So for my pile 3s, those who are watching, what is it that they need to know when it comes to the things that are ending in their life, the things that are clearing out, what's being released during this eclipse season? Invocation and wonder. Okay, and what is it that's actually opening up or beginning as these things are being released? For my pile 3s. What is this new beginning coming through eclipse season? Alright, we have support. Alright, my pile 3s. I feel like this is going to be a very direct or pertinent message for not everyone. So if you're really feeling drawn to this, just take what resonates, right? And if it isn't for you, then it's not for you, and that's fine. It's for someone else. I just really get the sense with what is ending or what's being released with this invocation and wonder card here, that there might be a way that you have been in kind of a time period, and this is very relevant, especially with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, where there's been a bit of overemphasis on trying to maybe like use manifestation techniques, or really get into these like experiences of transcendence, focusing a lot on what is outside of the physical, right? Almost in a way that can bring a little bit of escapism, which is that Piscean energy. And trying to create these experiences for yourself with the intention that it will make life better, right? Like it will be solving problems, or there's a sense of hope there. But the other side of that Piscean energy can be this sense of delusion or the fantasy, right, that never actually grounds in the physical. And if you've been experiencing that, or like you've been kind of in this world of like opening yourself up, right, to spirit, or opening yourself up to these experiences that are just sort of blowing your mind, right, or you're in the that you feel like you're in the astral all the time, or you're just like not grounded in reality, there's a way that that cycle is starting to close for you, so that you can move more back into integrating what you have experienced here that could have been very profound. I'm not saying that this is like bad in any way. This is no judgment or anything. I'm just saying there we can go through these cycles, right, where we're almost denying the world in, or thinking we can, when we get into those places, like thinking we actually have more control, and through, I don't know, like this is going to solve all of our problems without needing to set any create any actions in the physical. And I get this sense of like getting a bit lost in the spiritual, to the degree that it's just you're kind of over it at this point, or not over it, like you're holding on to the goodness from it, or you could be. Although I very well may say, like, there could be moments that you have experienced a bit of like just feeling really lost, right, in that, or some just moments of confusion. It's very Neptunian over here, along with these big moments of just like expanding awe, right? But we have to, in that, in those experiences, know how to come back to self. And if you haven't had a teacher or someone in your life who understands that you're going through this type of awakening, you might have felt very disconnected. And so I think with the Virgo, the Virgo and Pisces eclipses, it is going to be this time where there might be some critical shift that happens that allows you to find support and to find people, or a person, or a community or something that actually can see you in this experience, or really knows what you're going through, and that you can lean on them and have their trust, like you trust them, and they are not like, as I know sometimes when we're going through things like this, it feels like no one could understand, or like no one's been where I have been, right? But people have, and I think more folks are sharing about their experiences and want to have that sense of connection with others in a way where we can really see each other and understand that this isn't strange, like, and you don't need to be disconnected from the world in order to be spiritual, and that's really not even part of it. Like, we might go through phases of that, right, where like we're clearing things out, but I think this to me is saying you're opening yourself up, your heart is like prime, right, for this experience to allow other people to almost pull you back to earth, and to really help you integrate all of the beautiful, awe-inspiring, and deeply confusing experiences that you may have been having. Another message that could be potential here with this invocation card in the prayer hands, I'm just thinking, like, if you have been like, this might also be talking about certain religious traditions that you've been involved with that you're ready to release and let go of, whether you have certain like trauma attached to them, or just like they're not seeing you as whole and complete anymore, or not resonating with where you're at on your spiritual path. This might be a big breakthrough moment of you finally letting go of certain traditions and understanding that you're really allowed to find new communities that will really take you in and embrace you exactly where you are, with the beliefs that you're holding now that really actually make you feel truly whole and like you're in your own truth. So that could be another message here. Yeah, I'm gonna get some cards to look at how you can best bridge this energy. So moving from what is ending into what is beginning. I'm gonna use this deck. So for my pile threes. How can they best move through this energy during eclipse season? We're gonna draw a couple of these too, so we'll just do this and then we'll get into it. So for my group threes, again, what's a way that they can best bridge this energy that's showing up? And if you're enjoying this or getting, positive benefit from it, I would love if you liked the video, and feel free to subscribe too. I am reinvigorating my channel right now, so I'm planning on posting more consistently, like a video each week like I used to do, and I've been gone for quite a while, so I'm trying to just make it a point to come back to it because I really do love doing these readings. But so for my group threes here, what else do they need to know in terms of how to bridge the energy here? All right, yes, we have Love Brave, Ancestral Web, and I also have the Scorpio card where Intimate was at the bottom of the deck there, which feels relevant. So in terms of bridging this energy, we have the Seven of Swords coming through with politics. We have the Eight of Pentacles here with ordinariness, and then the Death card with transformation. And I think this is pretty powerful in terms of thinking about how, the Seven of Swords energy can often be about deception of some kind. And I think it's just speaking to the fact that there might be ways that it feels like a mask is falling and you're seeing sort of a stark reality or stark truth. This can be very relevant during Saturn-Neptune time periods, which we're all living through collectively right now, where it can kind of be this disillusionment of faith almost, and we need to actually then come more into awareness of what our actual truth is again, and to rebuild our sense of faith from perhaps a new foundation. And it also can be deepening faith too. And it's always two sides of the same coin, but we're working with Saturn, right, which can be constrictions, foundations, and reality, physical, tangible reality, and Neptune, which is disillusionment, which is dissolving force, which is oneness, unity, consciousness, and spirituality. And so when those two come together, they're very, very different energies, and they can produce these kind of experiences sometimes where it's like a loss of faith or a crisis of faith, existential kind of crisis feelings. So to me, with this kind of mask coming off and seeing this sort of scary figure behind it, right? Like this malicious sort of malevolent figure with the snake energy too, it feels tied to seeing something in your experience that felt so blissful, but understanding, it's like there's still some sort of duality going on there. It isn't actually true integrated unity, oneness, because if you're only experiencing the highs, if we're only willing to go to certain places spiritually, we're not actually experiencing the whole spectrum necessarily. We're not actually opened in a way where we're truly engaging outside of duality, right? Because it's almost like we're still denying the humanity of ourselves, right? And so to me, this is pointing to that there is this moment, there could be this moment of the mask dropping. And I just want to encourage you to really like have empathy for yourself if you're experiencing that, or compassion for yourself if you're in that, and to know with the support here as the new beginning that like the more you can be surrounded by people who've had similar experiences, or who you really trust with your heart to listen to what you're going through, to know that you are going to move through this in a way where not only are you going to recognize that this physical like body that you're in, this experience here on earth is inherently spiritual. There's nothing not spiritual about this world. Like everything is consciousness, right? And that this card here, the Eight of Pentacles, with this ordinariness, I love that that's coming through, because it's like the bridge here is to fall back into the ordinary rhythms of everyday life, actually more of leaning into that Virgo quality, which is sort of routines, right, in our daily habits, coming back into appreciation, like a deep appreciation and pleasure for your earthly senses, for what we get to experience here in this life, and to understand and reintegrate the fact that all of these experiences that we have in this life are for a specific reason, and they are directly, of course, tied to our soul's like what our soul wanted to experience here, right? Like nothing is meaningless. Everything has meaning. And the fact that when you come back into that place of understanding, it allows you to root back into the earth, which brings a level of transformation. This is obviously the death card, but to have it being represented by transformation and this like phoenix energy, and just all of this, like we have the yin yang showing up too, like going beyond the duality, or embracing the duality fully, and understanding that when we can hold that paradox, right, of like that we're in a world that is about polarity, and dealing with opposites and dealing with that duality, and yet oneness is still the ultimate truth, right? Like there's this way that leaning into the ordinariness, leaning into support systems, finding community, and allowing them to hold you in a way where maybe you've isolated yourself, or you felt like your spiritual experiences are taking you away from community in some way. This is actually saying there's even more deeper transformative experiences to come for you that are actually going to come through your physical experiences and connections with folks. And I think Ancestral Web, I sense this card actually right now as I'm looking at it as a way that like the stuff you've been working through, nothing that has been going on, okay, in what you've been learning or engaging with spiritually has been like to your detriment. There may be ways that it might feel like that as the mask is coming off, but I think it's very relevant that whatever you've been going through in that sense has been part of dealing with some ancestral stuff that has been keeping you perhaps in conditioned patterns in this world where you needed to really separate and isolate yourself from this world to be able to transmute those a little bit. And now it's sort of like reintegrating yourself into the world in a way where when you start having the physicality again and physical interactions with others in ways that are really supporting who you are now, how you've brought more of your soul essence back into this reality, that with like being able to love others bravely from the heart. You might have Leo placements that you're healing this kind of energy of like needing to be courageous in love. And there's a way that like now through this new beginning that's occurring, and through calling in more intimacy, Scorpio showing up here too. Scorpio might be relevant for you in your own personal birth chart, but there is this sense of like a healing and deeper transformative work that can happen that is also going to impact your ancestral line. So that's definitely relevant too. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and look at these cards, which I drew before. I haven't looked at them. Asking your future self, who's on the other side of this eclipse season, what's like really important that you would need to know at this time as you're entering into the portal of this eclipse time. So, oh, they have Hireth, longing for home, homesick for the stars, as one of these cards. And then we have Earth, pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature. Can we, like, I have chills right now and I want to cry. Like, for both of these cards to come through is just like the ultimate confirmation of the journey that you are on right now. Like, to know, to see this like longing for home, which is a home outside of reach, and you might have been in this place for quite a long time, which is maybe why I'm emotional about it, because it's like you have felt that pull from somewhere beyond this physical earth, even though you're here, and it can feel really difficult to be in that position where you just feel like you want to go home to a home that doesn't exist here on this planet, right? Like, and to me, this is your future self on the other side of that saying that it can exist here. This earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, like that experience, these experiences are not separate from one another. That actually deepening into your time here on earth is going to allow you to feel more connected to whatever roots that you have off of this earth. And that this is always here for you. And oh, I just like heard something about like a song or like a mother song, or almost like the earth songs or something, offering you some level of connection. Maybe it's important for you to connect to music and to find create your own lullabies or something, create your own songs that remind you of this home, and bring them down into earth, and sing them to the plants, sing them to nature. I love, oh God, what is it in, I'm trying to think of that, Kyoning, that practice of singing, to the animals, right, to call them home. There's another practice that I totally forgot the name of, but it's like from the same roots, where folks would actually sing to the natural environment as like a song for nature specifically. So like literally responding to what they're seeing in the environment, in the natural world, through song. I don't know why that just like that just came through like a thing that could be really healing. I've actually done that before. When I first learned about that, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And like anytime I was out in nature alone, I would just kind of like hum or sing a melody that was coming to me that felt connected or resonant with the landscape. It's a really healing exercise. That might be something that makes you feel more rooted to this earth too, and just like being able to bring your beauty and your magic and your light like into this reality. We really need it. I'm just gonna say that too. Like, what you have been going through is not proof that you shouldn't be here. It's actually more proof that you are really needed here, and that this moment in time is just a huge transition point where you're going to have this opportunity to go even deeper and to know. I think it can be really enticing to stay in these places a lot of the time, and to see this here of like, yeah, but transformation on some other level that you haven't experienced, that's rooted in this earth experience, is actually possible too, in just as like juicy of a way. So that might be enticing for you. You might actually have a lot of Scorpio placements and be like, okay, yes, like I don't have to like constantly transcend. I get to have that level of like total like transfiguration, right, and rebirth in my life, even when I focus on the physical things. So yeah, wow, powerful reading, y'all. I hope that this offered you some insights and comfort at this time. And I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'll also remind y'all I have a class available right now called By the Moon, the Intuitive Guide to Understanding Your Birth Chart. So if you want to dig a little deeper into how to really understand your birth chart by tracking the moon's progression around your chart, it's an incredible practice, and the class comes with like a lot of really good guided instructions, and it actually is one that's trying to bring more of your intuitive knowing and innate knowing into your physical experiences and your daily experiences. So it is one that might support you in this bridging kind of energy here if you are interested in learning more about astrology. And it's good for beginners. I tried to make it really friendly for beginners, but also folks who are more advanced, because this is a practice that I actually learned later on in my astrology studies. And I was like, oh, I really, really wish I had learned this when I first came to astrology, because I think sometimes we can get so like overwhelmed by the details and focused on like what everything means, and the intellectual part of astrology, because there's just so much freaking information. And this is like really trying to set people up for having a level of confidence in being able to access their own birth chart from a much more like self-guided place, right, where you get to have a direct relationship with your birth chart versus like other people telling you what things mean or you just reading a book and being like, this must mean who I am, or things like that. So anyways, it is all the information about it's in the description box. I would definitely love to have you as a student. And yeah, you can also feel free to reach out if you're interested in a one-on-one session ever. I do astrology sessions. And I just hope that you are definitely seeking out the support that you need at this time. It is available. It is opening up to you big time as we move through this eclipse season. So definitely lean on those who are coming forward into your reality, and know that like there's a lot of beautiful rebirthing energy coming your way. All right, my group threes, this was so wonderful. Thank you for spending time with me. Hopefully I'll see y'all in a future reading. And no matter what, I wish all of y'all all the love in the world, and I will see you another time. Bye, y'all.